one final closing thought I wanted to throw out there. So this is open-ended. So I know you brought up Prop 19. We've covered Prop 15. Is there anything else maybe that you provide as far as services that might be relative or to our audience? That'd be great.
I don't have a whole lot more to add. I think Prop 15 is probably the biggest deal on this ballot.
Yeah.
Prop 19 is one of those things that may not be important for everyone. It's going to be really interesting to see the last poll that came out. The Public Policy Institute of California put a poll out about last night or the night before, and they polled people on Prop 15, and it has a 49% yes and 45% no right now. It's a 50% to pass.
Wow.
So it's going to be tight. I mean, I think like a lot of what the consultants and the experts are saying about this election that we're going to have in, I guess, 11 days now, it's really going to depend on voter turnout.
That is true.
So I'm going to be on the edge of my seat. I'll tell you what, on November 3rd at night, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat watching this. This will be, if Prop 15 passes, a dramatic change. The good news is we do all this work, whether it's the change in ownership work or the valuation work or anything else, but it's going to be a shift in the way that business is done, and my practice.
And now that I think about it, the redevelopment opportunity that I just mentioned, that's going to accelerate it if it passes, right? Then it's going to be, those properties, what we were talking about is that they're non-performing now, right? These retail strips, shopping centers, because of the small business tenants that aren't paying and because of the loans and liens that are still on there and the owners still have to pay, what we've been seeing is a trend of those owners now looking at what the new highest and best use for those properties are, and they're no longer retail only. They're looking at developers to come in to either buy outright or get in a joint venture to build, a mixed use, because you could still keep the commercial at the bottom level, ground floor, and then you could build units on top. So it serves both purposes, and it's very ideal as far as zoning is concerned. Those type of bigger retail strips that are all over Southern California, frankly. And again, a lot of them are small business anchored, not national, anchored. So I think that might accelerate a lot of these properties getting out on the market and looking for developers to go ahead and develop it. Because at that point, those they'll kill off the remaining surviving small businesses, right, and older businesses that are out there, and they're just going to be vacant. Who's going to want to now, on a new triple net lease, go in there with the new tax implication, right? It's just not feasible.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen all the shoes drop from this COVID situation yet. A lot of the businesses that are there are surviving based on these forgivable loans from the federal government. To the extent that they are surviving. I mean, few are thriving, and it's definitely changed, the way that a lot of companies are doing business. But especially if Prop 15 passes, I really think, you see the press and you see this large company moved out of the state to Texas, or this large company moved over to Nevada, or wherever they're moving, right? But you never hear about all the little favorite shops that people used to have that just slowly closed down. You don't hear about those on a statewide scale. But I think you're going to see it. I think you're going to see a lot of small businesses closing down. I've been, even in where I live, in Larkspur, California, and when I go into San Francisco, there's a lot more boards up. There's a lot more for rent signs up, and that's with the government support. That government support will end at some point, not just because COVID will get worked out, but also because our national government can't continue to borrow money and put all these assets on the Federal Reserve's balance sheets. It's just unsustainable.
Well, where are we at? Like over 10, 13 trillion, something like that? Some insane amount.
I think it's more like in the 20s. High 20s at this point. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Do you remember? It wasn't long ago that we were arguing about getting past 6 billion or trillion.
6 trillion. Yeah. 20 something. I mean, oh my God. Wow. Yeah, I agree. I think the shoe's going to come off, and I think it's going to be a long road and recovery back. And but again, it's the time. Sometimes it's an opportune time too, and a lot of disruption is going to happen. New technologies, new ways of developing, living, suburban, urban, all of these decisions are going to be made in the next 5 years very quickly. we're gonna have to deal with that. So Brad, thank you so much. Super helpful. We'll have you back on. Actually, I'm already thinking of some other ideas as far as taxes, because again, it's this kind of optimization is vital in such a turbulent time, right? And so thank you so much, Brad, and appreciate you being on, and we'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.